WASHINGTON. For many who answered to President Donald Trump, the job was a risk-reward proposition like no other. There was a chance to win his favor and shape national policy, and there was the possibility of running afoul of the boss and getting publicly humiliated. Cabinet secretaries came and went in a Trump administration marked by head-spinning turnover. Former advisors churned out memoirs detailing their frustrations with Trump, who in turn used his massive public platform to shower them with insults. Should he return to the White House, Trump would need to build a leadership team once again, a challenge made more daunting by his track record and his ability to win Senate confirmations for the loyalists he would need to carry out his orders. In preparation, Trump advisors are preparing to take charge of the executive branch if he wins in November, a transition process that is customary for presidential nominees. Allies are compiling lists of potential job candidates and building dedicated teams that would guide any nominees towards Senate confirmation. The transition work is happening quietly, outside of public view and away from the campaign trail. Not wanting to tempt fate by acting as if the election is already won, Trump has kept some distance from his own transition operation, said a person familiar with the planning who, like others in this article, was granted anonymity to speak freely. After he defeated Hillary Clinton in 2016, Trump remarked that she had assembled an effective transition team but lost anyway because everyone was in Washington measuring the drapes, a person familiar with Trump's comments at the time said. Yet Trump's own transition that year was famously chaotic. Former New Jersey Gov. Chris Christie led the effort, only to be pushed aside and see much of his work tossed out after Trump's stunning upset victory. This time, several dozen people are working on a potential Trump transition and expect to complete a thorough vetting of possible cabinet picks before the election, the person familiar with the planning said. They've had to move quickly. Trump's campaign named his transition leaders just last month, a shortened timetable for accomplishing its work, an expert on presidential transition said. Relative to modern practice, the Trump team was slow off the mark in announcing their transition operation, said Max Stier, president and CEO of the nonprofit Partnership for Public Service. They were the presumed nominee for quite some period, and the normal timetable would be to start their work in the spring as opposed to the end of summer or beginning of fall. With the team that they selected, it's not clear that they have the governmental experience that is fundamental to success, Stier added. In thinking about the expertise you need, deep expertise is at the top of the list. The names of people running the Trump transition speak for themselves. Vice President Kamala Harris advisors, too, are preparing for a possible victory in November, as both campaigns looked to take the fullest advantage of the first 100 days in office, when a new president's political capital is at its peak. Their tasks differ in that Harris is already part of an incumbent Democratic administration and has the option of keeping officials in place if she chooses. Trump would be creating a cabinet from scratch. His distinct challenge would be to find people who are loyal to him, always a priority for Trump, but who are also sufficiently respected in their fields to win Senate confirmation. He'd have no difficulty staffing his cabinet, Senator Mitt Romney, of Utah, said in an interview. The question would be whether they are people of stature or capacity and are up to the job required, and whether they could be confirmed. I think it's unlikely he would get a group of generals like he did last time, Romney added, referring to James Mattis, H.R. McMaster, and John Kelly, all of whom were generals before they took high-ranking positions in the Trump administration. Romney, a Trump critic, is retiring from the Senate and won't be in office next year to vote on the next president's nominees. In a statement to NYCNES, Trump's campaign emphasized that any discussion of who Trump may appoint in a second term is not final. President Trump announced a Trump-Vance transition leadership group to initiate the process of preparing for what comes after the election. But formal discussions of who will serve in a second Trump administration is premature, said Stephen Chom, communications director for the Trump campaign. President Trump will choose the best people for his cabinet to undo all the damage dangerously liberal Kamala Harris has done to our country. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more news updates. Hit subscribe for the latest news.